Hi, this is Halogen Star. I wanted to do a quick little talk about where I started with music. I've very rarely do stuff like this, and I thought that now would probably be a good time to do it. Basically, where I started, how I became a fan of music creation, where it all started. Now, to boil it down, without the big video being too long, in around 2004 or 2005, I was introduced to the idea of creating my own music when I was a child. My parents one day came home with some family from shopping, and there was some cereal, and in one of the cereal boxes was a CD. And if I remember rightly, the CD was called EJ DJ Mix Station or something along those lines. It's been about 20, well, it has been 20 years, so I can't remember its exact name. But that's where it started, and it's a software aimed towards kids. And it was quite entertaining. I loved the idea of putting my own sounds together using pre-recorded stuff. You know, it's mixing more than anything else. So I did that. Even my siblings were into it. Let's take this out. Even my siblings were into it, you know. And eventually we started using EJ Special Edition and EJ Dance 4 throughout the years. A couple of years, you know. Then I reached my teens, and unfortunately, I fell out of music creation. I developed other hobbies. And it wasn't until in my early 20s where I was starting to come back into it. The music you can hear right now, by the way, is the opening track to one of my past albums. The album is called... God, I'm terrible with names. Boundless Imaginations. There you go. Can't remember my own music. I might even Halogen Star. My goodness. The opening track. This track is called Paved with Gold. I'm immensely proud of this album, and this was recorded after something happened in 2011. I was in a branch of HMV with a family member near me. And over the radio in the store, I could hear some really weird music playing. I thought, what is this? What's this music? And I realised that the music was The Field, the Swedish DJ musician, The Field. A song called It's Up There on his album Looping State of Mind. And that was the first song I heard by The Field. And that was the first occasion where I came across the idea of sampling and looping and repetition, and at first, I'll be honest, I hated it. I found it boring and repetitive, but eventually it grew on me. So, in 2013, 2 years later, I was watching a YouTube video by an uploader called Crazy Scout Finn, who had made a funny TF2 video called Bottle Money. Crazy Scout Finn Bottle Money. Look it up. And I heard this music in the background. I thought, oh wow, this is cool. And I went to the comments to ask, and before I realised, somebody had already asked. And it turns out, as Crazy Scout Finn responded, they said they made the music themselves with Magix Music Maker. So I decided, do you know what, I like that idea, and I bought Magix Music Maker on Amazon, and that was what started it. So 2013 until 2025, that is what it's been since. As a hobby, by the way. It's been a permanent hobby of mine since. I love recording music. It's been one of my favourite things ever. Over anything else, over Twitch, over Discord, anything. It's just, number one has always been music creation. And I do it for myself, but I also do it for people to enjoy, which is why I release stuff on Spotify and Bandcamp, because I know that people have told me that they love my music and it helps them out, and I feel really humbled by it, and it's really lovely. And every bit of positive feedback is really nice to me. But I also like to take constructive criticism. I take it really well, by the way. You know, if you've noticed a problem or something you don't like about my music, just say it. Just say it. And I can maybe put that as an idea for the next album as well. I can maybe improve on that. You know, I like to improve my work. Everything now is handcrafted. Behind me, you can't see it because of the blurry background, there's a bass guitar. I bought that a couple of weeks ago. Over there is an electric guitar. You can see the outline of the case, the black outline. That's my mother's electric guitar. My mother was part of a punk band briefly, and she bought that guitar 31 years ago. Roughly 31 years. And my dad was a roadie for the Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. So I've got a musical past. But now you know where I came from. How I started. My uncle was a bass player as well. My late uncle was a bass player. And I didn't know this until very recently when I told my grandmother that I just bought a bass guitar, and she looked at me with open eyes saying, "Yeah, your uncle was a bass player and he was really good at it." And I thought, oh, you know, I've got a musical family. But that's where it started. 2005, EJ disc. 2013, video by Crazy Scout Finn talking about Magic Music Maker. I owe it all to Crazy Scout Finn for kickstarting me back into music again. I don't talk about this much, I really should have done. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed watching. I've got Borderlands 4, by the way, compiling shades on the other monitor, so in about a couple of seconds you may hear a very loud noise as the game finally finishes compiling after about 40 minutes. So there you go. So I'm going to play some games with my family now. Every Sunday is Borderlands 4 day. But I hope you all enjoy your new week. And I hope you've all enjoyed my little story. Thanks for watching.